All right, now we're going to go over a range and bearing tool. And what that gives you the ability to do. Sometimes you need to do a range and bearing from point A to point B without having an icon there. And so the range and bearing tool just so happens to be in my toolbar at the top. If you look up, you see the ruler, and right above it, it has like your triangle icon. And so I'm going to bring that up. And you notice it has a circle, and then it has two open circles with the dotted lines between it, which is the range and bearing, and then another circle with a solid line, and that's a different type of range and bearing than the first one. And then we're going to get into the bullseye or the starfish. The circle is just like the other circle, except for you can't geofence it. The other thing great about this circle is you can put it on yourself. And so if I do this, put it on myself, and if I walk around, move around in a car, vehicle, or whatever, you can basically set it up to a certain distance. Let's just say an easy 200 meters. And then this one, as you noticed, if you add rings, you can just keep adding rings. And just like on the other circle, my base circle or base ring was 200 meters. So my next one's 400, 600, 800, and so forth. And then take those off, I just delete them. And so now we're down. And so wherever I go, wherever I move, driving, whatever, now I have a base circle around me that gives me a quick reference or a way to measure out to 200 meters away from me. Okay, that's one thing great about this. Otherwise, it's no different than any of the other circles. But I'm going to go ahead and delete that one. And now what I want to do is I want to get into the range and bearing. And so I'm going to go over one from the circle to the open circles with a dotted line. And then this tells me up here to measure from and to. All right. Now as we zoom in here, you notice I'm measuring from that building to the other building. It's 222 meters at 220 degrees magnetic at 202 meters away. Sorry, didn't have my glasses on. But what I want to do is in the black area, I want to open up the rotary wheel of this range and bearing line. Now you notice this one is different. And so at the 2 o'clock, you see where it has an upside down teardrop, or basically what that is, you're pinning it. So if you hit that, you can then move this and make another range and bearing line from the original point. Now if you open up that and pin it again, you can do it again. So you notice from a single point we have 3 range and bearings. Okay, you can use this for multiple reasons. I'll let you figure out why you would use that or when. But what I do want to show you on the very first one, if you open this up, you notice you can't pin it anymore. So that ability is gone. But the one thing I'm going to take this time to talk about is if you notice, we're in meters. If I need to change that to feet and miles, okay? If you remember when I talked to you about earlier, if you long press on any rotary wheel that has a yellow with the black circle, it's going to bring up a sub menu. And now I'm going to hit feet and miles. Now, what I want y'all to see and be aware of, and a lot of people don't know this or understand this, but now I've changed this range and bearing line to feet. It also changed all my other range and bearing lines to feet. If you had the map drawing tool on here and you had a bunch of map like If you had a geofence set up and you originally had it in meters or kilometers or nautical miles, it would change that to feet. If you had a runway lined out, that would be in feet. The reason why I'm telling you this is this can possibly cause a very dangerous situation, because back in the old days when you used to change one line, it would only change that line because you were deliberately changing that line from what you set up as your base. So I just want to take this time out to tell the community, watch out, because as you notice, if I come in here and I change this again back to meters and kilometers, it changes everything back to meters. So just be aware of that as you're going through and doing your ATAK. All right. The other thing I'm going to show you on the last line I did, if I open that up, you could pin that. And the reason why I want to show you this is you can move any line. It's not just the original endpoint. So it gives you the ability to do the range and bearing line and move any line or any endpoint. All right, I'm going to move over to the next one. Now this range and bearing line, I'm going to close this one out. I'm measuring to there. Now you notice this is just a regular range and bearing line. This range and bearing line does not give you the ability to pin it or any of that. So that just gives you the ability. Something else that we skipped over, and I want to show you. If you come down into 5 o'clock on the rotary wheel and hit your information, on all your range and bearing lines, you have an arrow. If you change and click that arrow, that basically will change where you're measuring from and to. As you notice here in the black line, you have an arrow pointed back to where you originally measured to. So this is a great also tool with a range and bearing line. You can get your back azimuth. And if I click that again, you notice it's just changing it. Now the arrow is pointed back to the original one. What I'm going to do is go ahead and delete this, clear this up. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is the bullseye. And so I'm going to click it down. And the bullseye gives you the ability to get all these magnetic rays. So as you can see, that's 360 degrees, 30 degrees, 60 degrees, and 90. So it's every 30 degrees it gives you that measurement. You can label it. You can change the center grid to any coordinate format that you need. The other thing on the below, you see it says from center, and you notice that this is green and it has the arrow pointing up. If you hit to center, it now changes it to red, and it has the arrow pointed as to the point of where it's coming, originating from. I want you to also notice that your degrees are flipped. Now what you would think was, heading north is 360 degrees is now 180 degrees and so forth. And the reason for that is aircraft fly too. So if an aircraft's flying from the north to the south, they are flying a 180 degree heading, okay? So that's the reason why that's flipped. I'm gonna flip it back to from center. There's the degrees, there's magnetic. And then I want to change this meters to 5,000 meters. So this is a pretty big one. And then right below that, let's show range rings. And so let's change that to increments of 1,000. Hit OK. And so as you notice. Now what you can use this for, you could use this for vectoring aircraft, rotary wing, a deconfliction of rotary wing and UAVs, fixed wing. I know of some agencies that have started putting this over cell phone towers, and they use that to where they're getting plots of where stuff is taking hits and stuff. So you can use it for all kinds of different reasons, but that's the Bullseye. That's a good, useful tool. It gives you a lot of options. You can use it for measurement. You can use it for deconfliction. Just let your imagination run wild. And that's your range and bearing tool.